Chaos erupted live on TalkTV as Keir Starmer's government faced complete collapse following the shock resignation of his closest advisor, Morgan McSweeney. With Mandelson also gone and intelligence warnings ignored, the Prime Minister's authority crumbled. Then came the coup de grace, the revelation that MI5 warnings about security threats had been ignored, leaving Starmer's team in disarray and shocking the entire political establishment. Watch the clip.
First off, if you haven't jumped on board yet, hit that subscribe button and join this little family that's growing thanks to you.
James, we're having fun this morning. I don't think Sir Keir Starmer is. Do you reckon Morgan McSweeney is going to add the long list of people who have had to abandon the Prime Minister's side?
Well, I mean, that is the key question, Alex. I mean, what is Starmer without McSweeney? What is Starmerism? I think that he himself has rejected on the record any kind of ideology. So the sense is that Morgan McSweeney has really been the one giving this government the drive, the political energy, the direction, and obviously was doing that in opposition as well. So they've worked together for 5 years, they've been very, very close. And frankly, if McSweeney goes, I mean, one wonders what's left of the Starmer administration.
Well, you kind of think, what's left of Starmer? I mean, we sort of talked about, well, is this government going to last long? Nigel Farage said at Reform Conference, I think there's going to be a general election by 2027. And people used to say, well, by what device? How are they going to fall? Are they going to vote themselves out of power? I've just seen the headlines flashing up on the news that France is potentially about to have to go to the IMF. I don't think we're too far behind them, in all honesty. And this crisis, just ahead of the state visit, and the questions that it's begging are, this isn't just small fry. This isn't, oh, what, a donor has paid for some wallpaper in number 10, which to me was always a nonsense story, quite frankly. This is the big question of, did the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom refuse to listen to the advice given by the intelligence agencies? Is this the first time? Are there other examples where MI5 and MI6 might have said to Sir Keir Starmer, you wouldn't guess who's coming over on those boats? Pretty alarming characters. Perhaps you shouldn't keep flying ministers out to Beijing. That super embassy they want to build in London might not be a good idea. And meanwhile, while we're at it, those pro-Palestine marches are being used as a recruitment drive for terrorists. How many other briefings and dossiers coming from the intelligence agencies does Starmer seem to think are not necessary for him to read?
Well, I mean, that will be the key question. I will be really interested to see what happens now with Lord Mandelson. I mean, there's clearly a lot of anger from his camp about how this has been handled. And I think there's a sort of whiff about sort of maybe Dominic Cummings' revenge and all this. So one wonders, if it's made clear that, of course, Starmer was aware and his team was aware of all these concerns beforehand. I'll be interested to see kind of what documents end up their way into the Sunday papers and more questions about this, because, for instance, the opposition in Parliament aren't going to let this go lying down. They're pushing for a vote among MPs on releasing the vetting documents. And of course, every Labour MP will be forced to go through the lobbies, presumably to vote against that, a bit like the Owen Paterson scandal 4 years ago. So lots of issues, as you say, Alex. We don't know what's going to come out in the next couple of days or so, but we do know whatever happens, it's going to be bad news for Keir Starmer. Trump may well say a whole bunch of things and not just sort of derogatory stuff about Sadiq Khan.
I certainly think if it's JD Vance coming over for that state visit, Vance wouldn't hold back on criticisms of things such as free speech in this country. And I think it's deeply alarming, actually, when we live in a period of such sort of febrile intensity geopolitically, to see tensions in our relationship. And I actually think all credit to Donald Trump that actually he continues to sort of glad hand Starmer and pat him on the back because he likes the UK so much. Let's move on to another story now, which is about plans from Reform, who say if they get into power, they want to scrap the civil service. They want to make sure that the heads of policy departments are political appointments. They want to hire anti-ECHR staff. They're even toying with the idea of political appointments for judges. This is a radical overhaul. Do you think that's even possible to execute?
It will be very, very difficult, I have to say. I think that there is increasingly a sentiment on the right of British politics that more political appointees to government are a good thing. Certainly, normally the kind of tradition of 2 or 3 spads will not be seen as sufficient. The policy department, which obviously Richard Tice singled out at that speech yesterday, was the Home Office. And from talking to people in the last administration, they say that, look, most of the civil servants were okay to work with, but the Home Office was a bit of an exceptional case, a bit of a law unto itself. And I think you've seen some of the leaked messages that have come out about some of the criticism of government policy, that would suggest there needs to be special attention there. But I would say that I think, obviously there are big questions about the judiciary, rule of law, etc. But I mean, if you're going after politicising judging, etc., that could be a step too far. So I think Reform have done remarkably well, but they need to be careful they don't overreach, given kind of the massive challenges that we face in them when they get in on day one.